last week, and also test case design document, right? We looked into the basic level of testing. So I want to touch upon, okay, the testing execution practices and the review process. Okay. Now I want to understand from you guys. Okay. For example, you have written test case, okay, document, as we discussed last week. Okay. However, the structure what we had followed, okay, the test step and all this stuff. So if you give that particular document for the review, first of all, why do what do you think review is very essential? Any document has been drafted, or your test cases, once your test case is drafted, why do you think the review is very important? Anyone?
We'll get to know what is the quality of the product.
Quality of your product. Okay. Nearly there. Yeah. Product. When you say the product, what is that product you're referring to? I'm talking about the test case.
Any product, take it as a clothes.
No. Okay. We are talking about the test case document here. We're not talking about any product.
To detect faults.
Detect faults. Faults where?
Any problem
Faults where?
While doing the test.
Okay. You're closer, but not there. What? Okay. Somebody say, okay, peer review. You have written a you have written in a test case document, okay, or you're submitting the test cases or the assignments, for example, okay. I'm reviewing it. What am I doing? You guys are actually, writing, completing the test, assignments, right? Okay, what am I doing? Anyone?
You are reviewing. You are.
Okay. Why am I reviewing?
You're actually reading the assignment, opening and reading the assignment, what we have done.
Okay. How it is helping you all?
To see whether it is correct.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Your voice is breaking, whoever it is.
To check whether it is correct or not.
Okay. What is correct or not?
The document.
Document. Okay. Good. So what we are doing is, okay, we are ensuring the correctness and the coverage of the certain functionality, okay, for the testing purpose. Correct? When we, last time when we reviewing the the test, test scenario and test steps document, we did go through, okay, certain steps, isn't it? Okay, for example, for logging in, you had a new user and already registered user. Correct? Assume you are actually testing for registering the user for the first time who do not have access to the application. Now, there is a series of steps, right? You click on register new user, and there should be a page displayed for entering the name, username, address, phone number, email ID, and everything. Okay. And once that is done, click on submit. Then you should get an email. Once you get an email, then you have to click on that email for registration completion. And then probably there is an option of resetting, setting the password, new password, or resetting to the new password whatever you've actually entered while creating the or registering the user. Correct? So see, there are two things, okay, I just highlighted. One is resetting the password when the link was sent to your email, where you are actually, for the first time when you are logging in, it is actually asking you to reset the password. That means whatever the password you had entered while creating the user, that was overridden, that will be invalidated, and you must select the new password. There's another scenario where you entered your password while registering your user, and you need not to regenerate or the new password when you get your email to activate that particular user. Okay, there are two scenarios. Assume we are going ahead for the first scenario where you had to reset the password upon your first logging in, or activating your user for that particular portal, that is bookmyshow.com. Now, instead of you writing verifying resetting the password upon clicking on the activation link, you have missed it for some reason. How does it help? Like when someone is reviewing your test cases, okay, or any document, then they should be able to identify those gaps. Okay, and it gives you an opportunity to correct the test case document to ensure that you are actually covering all the test scenarios. Okay, all the test scenarios and all the test steps to make sure no gaps exist in order to verify the functionality of the application, whatever it is, the application. So review is very, very important. Okay, the review can be done by your peers, your colleagues, okay, from your same team, or your seniors who has a very good knowledge on the application, with their experience and everything. They should be able to identify any gaps, and they should be able to review and provide you the comments to improve any test case writing or test scenario coverage, everything. Okay, so as part of our software development life cycle or our test life cycle, it is very important to review any work which is being done by anyone or someone. Okay, so review activity is very, 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 very important. What because we touched upon the review aspects. So next, what I wanted you guys to do is, when you submit the test case creation, the test case document, right, that based on whatever you choose, I want you guys pick up each other's I'm not sure we do have the list, the complete list. Who is attending the call, and everyone. Rabia, do you have any sort of a list of attendees? The reason why I'm asking this question here, Rabia, what we can do is we can just allocate each other's name when they submit the their assignments. They can pick up their test case document. They can review it, each other's.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
And that would help for them to understand, for an example, understand if they have not covered any sort of functional aspects. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
yeah, please, if you have all the list of attendees, and if you could assign the names against each other, so that they can pick up their respective teammates test cases, and they can review and provide the comments.
Okay, sir.
Okay. When I'm saying the comments, guys, okay. So if you think there is some sort of a gaps, okay, like your partner, they did not cover certain functional aspects, or if you could not understand what actually they have written, okay, and what they're trying to test in that particular test case and everything, you can discuss with each other, and you can actually bring up provide your comments there in that particular Excel itself. In a separate tab, you can put it as comments. Okay. And that comments can be read by the partner who have drafted that particular test case, and he or she can actually pick up those, read those comments, and if they are valid, he or she can go and update the test case document accordingly. I want you guys to do this particular activity because it is very, very important for you to understand what they're trying to test it. Likewise, it gives you a fresh perspective to for the test what you are actually trying to perform. So that means the tester who is actually drafting the test case, probably with many other reasons, right? Okay, the time pressure or lack of knowledge of the application, they could not cover all the test cases, okay, / test scenarios, okay, and then respective test cases for those scenarios. They might have missed it. Certain steps would have been missed out. And your fresh perspective gives you a lot of insight, okay, in terms of like identifying those gaps. Your comments or review comments, don't think that okay, it was a silly thing or not. Okay, please feel free to provide the comments. Okay, and the person who actually drafted, please go through those comments and see if that can if they are valid, and if you if you need to update them. Okay, so please ensure this is done for our next class. Okay, now in our beginning of our classes, okay, we did covered about the concept of defects, concept of issues, the difference between the defect and issues and everything. Okay, so when you're reviewing these documents, okay, there are certain things where you have actually missed out and you're not considered in for putting that in a test case document. As I'm actually reviewing, we classify the those gaps. I know I will show you, in our next class, once we have the what do you call it, as complete your test case documents and everything. I'll create a sheet. I'll talk about, the type of review comments we provide and how do we classify those, and why do we call that as a defect or any other comments or anything as such, or pertaining to that particular document itself. Okay, so the first activity what you guys needs to do is review each one's test cases and provide your comments and see if the the person who drafted can actually if you agree that those comments whatever has been provided is appropriate, and then please go ahead and amend your test cases. Okay, apart from this classifications, okay, we have review, we have classifications and everything. Okay, we do have a concept called versioning. Okay, so for an example, when you write the test case for the first time, we call that, for an example, let's take an example of that bookmyshow.com only. Okay, we wrote a test case for bookmyshow.com, which are different, around 100 test cases or whatever. Okay, because it had a different test scenarios. Under each test scenario, we might be having 10 steps or 15 steps, 20 steps, whatever it is. Overall, there are 100 test cases over there as part of that particular document. And the first draft what you have provided, okay, the first copy what you have provided, we can call it as a draft version. Correct? It's a draft one. What you have you have drafted freshly that particular document. Now that particular draft one, we call it as, for an example, okay, verification of login of registering the new user in bookmyshow.com. That is the file name you would have given. Okay, then you will put that as 1.0. okay, that means the version of that particular document is first version. Okay, or you can call it as _draft. That means it's still a draft mode. Okay, once that has been reviewed and you agree upon those comments, and then you finalize that particular document, okay, with all the amendments and everything, you will have the final document which is ready and approved for executing or verifying that particular functionality. Are you following what I'm trying to say here, please? Okay, if you're unable to understand, please let me know. Okay, we will know once you write those test cases, and then I will take you through the complete process. Okay, so I'm just giving you a bit of a heads up in this class so that we can discuss in detail in our coming classes. Okay, so we call it as that concept, the versioning, we call it as version control. So you had a draft one, you had a reviewed one, and then you had an approved document. Okay, so we give the numbers to that. Okay, we call it as 0.1, 0.2, and then it will become 1.0, and then it will become approved document. But please remember 3 things from the version control perspective: draft, review, and approved. Okay, there are 3 stages. In the draft, you can have multiple once you have drafted the test case document, it will go for review, and the reviewer will provide the review comments. It will come back again to the draft mode, and again you will update it, and again it will send it back to the review. And one the reviewer is happy with the changes what you have done, then that particular document can be finalized. That means that whatever the latest updated document will become the final document. So that final document will be approved and agreed between the various parties, okay, to execute that test cases in the to test the functionality of bookmyshow.com. Okay, so this is very important for you, guys, to remember from the version control perspective. We have touched upon the review, we touched upon the version controlling. Okay, in our next class, okay, once we review all those things, I'll take you through the planning process. Can anybody tell me, okay, what is a plan? We'll discuss in detail about this in our next class, but anybody, can anyone tell me what is plan? I'm sure we do a lot of planning. Anyone?
So before starting the class, we'll do the planning, we'll fix the class in particular timing.
Mm-hmm.
That is the planning, according to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It is not a wrong answer. It is definitely, it's a right answer. Why do we need planning?
To do, what are the requirements, what are the procedures we are going to follow, all the rules and regulations
Mm-hmm.
will be there in planning.
Correct.
We are designing.
Yeah.
We are planning. We are trying to decide the future.
Yeah. Anyone else? None of the answers what you gave was wrong. Okay, and it is right in its own perspective. Okay, the planning is very, very important in order to do anything for that matter. Take it as in your real time life, or with your profession as well, right? For an example, if you want to go to some trip, right? First of all, you are planning to go to a trip. Okay, that is your requirement. Okay, then when when you have a requirement, okay, you split that into various stages, isn't it? Okay, now how are you going to go to the trip? Okay, are you using your own vehicle, or you're renting it? Okay, once that has been finalized, okay, what is the cost for that renting, the transportation, whether it is a van, car, or anything that for that matter? Are you going to drive, or you have a driver? What is the cost associated to it? Okay, and on the way, where you're going to stop? Okay, and are you going to have any snacks, dinner, while you're actually going, and what would be the cost? And who are coming along with you, and what would be the total cost for the for your trip, and where you're going to stay? Okay, what is the based on your budget, you will decide what kind of a hotel, or wherever you're going to stay. Okay, and which places around that particular place you're going to visit. Okay, how many days you will go. So, and then if you are when you go there, are you going by foot, or are you is it okay to go by your the vehicle, whatever the vehicle you have actually arranged for, or do you need to hire any other vehicle in that particular place where you're visiting? So you're going to put in different plan, or different steps, right? Okay, and those steps will have a cost, will have someone who is involved in that particular process. Okay, it can be when you take an example of transportation, You know, if you think if you are hiring a driver, there is a person who is involved and there is a cost involved. We will decide, okay, how long we need the driver. Do we need the driver for the whole journey, or can you share the driving with the driver? So all those things to reduce the cost. So there are a couple of things which you're going to plan, okay, around to execute or to reach that particular place or to complete that whole process altogether. There are people involved, there are processes involved, there is cost is involved, there is time is involved. Okay, so these factors will impact the outcome of whatever you're planning or whatever you're trying to achieve. So these are things, these are very key elements of the planning: people, processes, cost, and everything. Okay, so we will learn more in our coming classes about the planning, and I really I want you guys to write a plan. Okay, the ultimate goal is to to achieve that, to write the plan, you guys understanding and all those things. Okay, eventually I'm sure you will be able to do it. Okay, yes, give a thought about the planning and everything now. Okay, we will cover in detail in our coming classes. Okay, so for our next class, Rabia, please do allocate the individual partner names so that they can pick up the their respective work review, and please do send the reviewed copies across to us. What we're going to do is in our next class, I'm not going to take one assignment. I'm going to take a couple of assignments. We will review it together, okay, along with the team.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Hope everyone able to understand the need for our next class. Any doubts?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. Okay. So yeah, I'll look for your assignments, and then then we can pick it up for our next class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thanks. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, sir.
No problem. Okay. Have a great evening. Speak to you later.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You too, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.